Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning coffee talks at the Buildings Pavilion from Glasgow COP26. My name is Mariana Castaño Cano with Global Alliance for Buildings and Constructions, and it is my pleasure to welcome today to this morning coffee talks Karim Selouan. Karim Selouan is the founder and CEO of Resilience at Vinci Construction. Hello, Karim.
Hello, nice to meet you, and happy to be here with you and to introduce probably the 10 principles for active action for adaptation.
Absolutely, and actually the reason why we are later this morning, a couple of hours later than the usual time, is that we were in an event where Karim and others members of the Global ABC Alliance presented the 10 principles for effective climate adaptation in buildings. And first is first, what are these 10 principles and what are they so needed?
In fact, first of all, perhaps I will to introduce what is Resilience. Resilience, it's a design office dedicated to support cities, international funder, rating agency, insurance, a lot of stakeholders to adapt or to find solutions to reduce, to mitigate the climate risk. And this is with this action, with Resilience, that we joined the Global ABC. And after the lot of discussion, we decided to launch a new international initiative dedicated to reduce, to accompany, to support all the stakeholders facing climate change. That's why we decided to define a brief review, a brief report, including the 10 principal effective action, so to launch this international initiative.
Karim, it's been a long work. It's been 2 years of work. You presented a report earlier this year in January at the Climate Adaptation Summit in Rotterdam, and now here at COP26 you are presenting the principles. And these principles want to be effective for all the stakeholders involved in the buildings and construction value chain. We were hearing this morning that this is a huge market, and there is a lot at the stake because it's 50% of the global wealth is in real estate, housing and community buildings. What are the key challenges and the main opportunities and benefits of implementing these principles for adaptation?
So to understand which or to define which benefits, we need to understand why we decided to launch this initiative. First observation, cities, infrastructure, territories are not adapted due to climate change. Cities and infrastructure are shocks and stresses due to climate change. The cost of adaptation is growing more and more. It could represent around 15% or 30% of the global GDP. It's very expensive, and that's why we decided to accelerate the knowledge and some key solution, so to accelerate and to implement the 10 principal effective action facing climate change.
It is important to realize that the buildings we are building today will have to support a different climate than that of today. If no new ambition is put on the table, we will see 2.7 degrees more, with the consequences that this will have in terms of extreme weather events, cyclones, floods, extreme heat as well. This morning at the presentation of the principles, it was said that we need a paradigm shift, that we need to change the way we view buildings and construction, and integrate locally adapted solutions and integrate nature-based solutions. What are the different stakeholders in the value chain, if they need to really think differently and shift their view on adaptation, what would you suggest them to look at first in their way of doing businesses?
Of course, the first question is perhaps how we could share the risk, how we could share the risk with several type of stakeholders, for example, insurance, bank, investor, the real estate, the construction industry, the citizens, the public partner, the private partner. We need to perhaps start a new shift, a new paradigm, because the future is perhaps very uncertain. We don't know how the climate change could move, could change, and that's why the decision today perhaps will be or should be updated rapidly all decade. That's why the solution for today perhaps could be pertinent, it could be very good, but we are not sure that it could be safe for the future. And just before you asked me the solution about nature-based solution, the nature-based solution could be one solution, but not the only solution. We need to combine solution. We need to combine the stakeholders. We need to combine the knowledge. So to share the best knowledge concerning the uncertainty, so to reduce the gap between the scientists, climate change predictive model, and the needs of the local populations, and which type of risk we could support it by all the stakeholders. I think this is this new paradigm, and this new paradigm based on the climate change perhaps push or contribute to define a new balance of power between all the stakeholders.
These 10 principles are a first in the sector. Even though it is a massive sector and around 1/4, 1/5 of jobs, direct and indirect, depend on this sector, it is a very unstructured sector. There are a lot of real estate, big companies to small and medium-sized enterprises at the local level. It is very difficult to come with solutions that fit all. Probably there is no one solution that fits all, but if we could take the collaboration that has made possible this principle, what have been the greatest learnings of this 2 years long collaboration between all the stakeholders within the global ABC? What is it that you will take away as this really worked well, and this kind of working together can be helpful as we move forward in this paradigm change?
I think that the technical solution is not the only solution. We need to accept that the technical approach could represent several types of limits. We need to include citizens. Perhaps we need to add in the same level technical solution equal the users' behavior and the culture of the risk of the population. This is a mix between all dimensions that it could perhaps represent a new paradigm, a new approach, so to reduce the risk and perhaps so to develop, to accelerate the adaptation process, because the adaptation process includes, of course, the technical solution, the green solution, the nature-based solution, the black solution, etc., but also the management, the governance solutions, not only technical. We are sure, because one question is, we want to share, we want to accept a certain level of risk for today, for tomorrow, for the next decade. And with this uncertain future, we need to accept that the technical solution from today, perhaps it could become obsolete tomorrow.
Well, Karim, I want to thank you very much. Remind the people watching us that you're Karim Selouan, the CEO and founder of Resilience at Vinci Construction. And I want to thank you all for watching and invite you to go and check the 10 principles for effective climate action in climate adaptation in buildings. Go to the globalabc.org website and you will have their access to the principles and also access to the daily update. Every day, this newsletter, you can read it online or also receive it in your inbox. You can subscribe via the website. Thank you very much for watching and see you tomorrow.